going about his business. Suddenly, these two guys wearing masks and carrying Armalite rifles burst in through the door. One of them poked the guy in the back and he said, "What side are you on?" I can't do a Belfast accent, sorry. And the man was paralyzed with fear. He didn't know what to say. The second terrorist poked him in the back and said, "What side are you on?" The man finally recovered his wits and stammered, "I'm an atheist." The two terrorists looked at each other, and then the first one said, "Are you a Protestant atheist or a Catholic atheist?" This is a story well known by many of us who grew up in Ireland, but it illustrates the confusion and the enmity that exists between Catholics and Protestants, even today in some pockets of Northern Ireland. There's a lot of confusion through the history of the Troubles, as we call them. Some of Ireland's greatest nationalists and patriots happen to be Protestant. Wolfe Tone, Charles Stewart Parnell, Sam Maguire, who the Sam Maguire Cup for football is named after, was a Protestant. This is why when the parade board sat down this year to decide on who the Grand Marshal should be in the centenary of the Easter Rebellion, they were adamant that they wanted to celebrate the peace process at the same time. So obviously the perfect choice for Grand Marshal this year was Senator George Mitchell. Particularly thank our good friend and Foundation board member Christopher Hyland for helping us to reach out to Senator Mitchell. Thank you, Christopher. And as we all know, Senator Mitchell chaired the historic Good Friday peace talks in 1998, which led to an end of a great deal of the violence in Northern Ireland. Before we begin our program, ladies and gentlemen, I want to call for a minute of silent prayer for those that we lost in the past year since the last parade, including Vice Chairman John Fitzsimons and Board Member Tim Ahern. And now a minute of silence, folks, please. A minute of silent prayer. Thank you, folks. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the annual St. Patrick's Day Foundation dinner. My name is Sean Lane. I have the distinct pleasure of being the Vice Chairman of the Foundation. As we begin, I just want to recognize a few of the individuals in the room. If you could kindly stand when I call your name. Parade Chairman John Leahy. John worked together with Frank Comerford. Frank is there, fellow board member Frank Comerford. And our former Vice Chairman John Fitzsimons, who we lost too early, but still had a big effect on the parade this year. As and together worked with other board members, including Hilary Beirne, Frank McGrail, and I don't know if there's any other board members of the parade here. Tim Rooney, is Tim is here? Yeah. So I just want to say, after several years of effort, these individuals continue to bring the parade forward yet again this year, and of course because it was the right thing to do, first and foremost, and also for the future of the parade. So please join me in a round of applause for these individuals bringing the parade forward again this year. I also want to recognize a few other people in the room. Of course, we already spoke about Senator George Mitchell, our Marshall Mitchell. Former New York Governor David Paterson is here. Governor Paterson, as I mentioned, mentioned proudly told me a few weeks ago, folks, that he's actually 42% Irish. Very precise on that. And as we pointed out, Patterson actually means son of Patrick. So he's more Irish than half you guys in the room. Consul General Barbara Jones is here. Geraldine Johnson, who's aide-at-large to the Grand Marshal. Geraldine actually had 5 members of her family in the GPO during the rebellion, right? Geraldine was 5, the youngest of which was 10 years old. Her uncles. One of her uncles was 10 years old at the time of the rebellion in 1916. Truly amazing. Jean McCarthy's here, the president of the Knights of St. Patrick. Jean. Thank you, Jean. Kyle Clifford from the American Ireland Fund, our friend Niall. Thank you. Our good friend Danny John, City Council member. Danny. And also Pat Tully of the American Ireland Fund is here. Pat. And of course, let's not forget Brendan Fay, who's co-founder of the Lavender and the Green. Big round of applause for Brendan. Welcome, Brendan. Now, we also want to thank auctioneer Ian White. Ian is here for the loan of the 1916 tricolor. People have seen in the far right-hand corner the first tricolor ever used in the history of Ireland. There it is right there, folks. Thank you, Ian. So what's the reserve price on that, Ian? $10. I don't think so. What is it, €1 billion or what? €1 billion. Wouldn't that look good in the Quinnipiac collection, John? Quinnipiac University collection for €1 billion? Might be doable. Trying to do a deal here. Colonel James Tierney's here from the 69th Regiment. Colonel Tierney. As many of us know, the 69th Regiment have led the parade for 165 years. And Colonel Tierney had an uncle who actually took part in the 1916 uprising. He didn't take part himself, folks. He's actually much younger than me. Peter Sheridan, the CEO of Cooperation Ireland, is with us here. It's an Irish peace charity that's being featured in the parade this year. It's going to receive 25% of the net proceeds of the dinner. The mission of Cooperation Ireland is to sustain peace by building a shared and cohesive society in Northern Ireland. We'll bring Peter up later to tell us a bit more about Cooperation Ireland. We also want to thank our platinum sponsor this evening, a personal gift from Bob McCann, CEO of UBS. He couldn't be here this evening, unfortunately, but he did send his money, so thank you, Bob. And of course, thank you, Frank O'Connor, board member Frank O'Connor, for securing that gift. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Frank. Okay, so I now invite you to enjoy your first course. We're just going to take a break for a few minutes, folks. No comment.